What's up, guys? Tim Little. Welcome back to TacticalBassin. Today we are going to talk about springtime fishing finesse tactics. Now you're probably wondering, Tim, it's springtime. Why in the heck would you be throwing finesse baits? But Matt and I were talking, and it never fails. You know, you're on a big glide bait bite or an A-rig bite or some kind of reaction bite, and a front comes through or a storm comes through and just shuts those fish down. You still know where they're at, but they're not wanting to eat the big baits, and it never fails. Tournaments come around, and the guys that are worming or shaky heading or tubing or something still stick those big fish that typically you could catch on a big bait, but just not that day. So even though it is springtime, you still need to have your finesse gear rigged up and ready to go. So today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite springtime finesse baits. Right off the bat, let's talk drop shot. Depending on the body of water you're in, the size of fish you're targeting, you could throw a drop shot on 4-pound test, you can throw a drop shot on 20-pound test. It all depends on what you're fishing and the style of fishing that you prefer. You can throw it on a bait caster, you can throw it on a little spinning rod. It is totally up to you. You could rig it Texas rig, you could rig it weedless, you could rig it wacky rigged. But remember, the reason you're throwing a finesse presentation is because the conditions have changed. So, you know, we've shot in-depth videos for most of these baits that we're going to talk about. So I'll link some of those up in the corner and down below in the video description. But drop shot, man, it's a great way. If you're throwing the big baits, you're throwing the A-rigs, the lipless cranks, and the fish are just shutting down with that difference in pressure, slow down, grab a drop shot, and really pick those key areas apart. You smallie fishermen, how do you leave home without a Ned Rig? You know, I got to play around with the Ned Rig quite a bit back east this year, and honestly, man, I don't know how you would go smallie fishing without having one with you. For some reason, those big smallies love the Ned Rig. Again, it all depends on the area you're fishing and what type of fish you're fishing for. Ned Rig is a great bait to mimic those small little gobies, small little bait fish. And again, if these fish are shutting down and they're not really actively feeding, they're kind of hunkered down, that Ned Rig, you can just kind of drag it on the bottom and kind of coerce those fish into eating. Springtime, one of my absolute favorite baits to throw is a stick bait, like a weightless Senko, either the 5, the 6, or even the 7-inch. You get those bigger presentations, that bigger body. Try and tempt those big girls into eating a finesse bait. And out here on Clear Lake, I usually throw the 6-inch. A lot of guys throw the 5-inch still. I know Matt sometimes throws a 7-inch, but the 6-inch is a great bait because it is a finesse tactic, but it has such a large profile that you're not really downsizing. You know, it's the same length as some of the 6-inch glide baits we throw. So if these fish are shutting down or too much boat pressure, you know, lots of tournaments on the lake, lots of just fishing pressure, switch it up a little bit, give them a little bit different presentation, give them that real subtle weightless Senko, get that just real subtle fall, and a lot of times you can put the big fish in the boat still when they won't eat the big bait. You know, you could throw a Senko, you could throw it on a shaky head, you could nail weight it, but if I'm fishing shallow water, you know, let's say shallower than like 12 feet, I'm going to throw it typically weightless just because I want that real subtle fall. Another bait that you can't really leave home without is the Kite Egg. You know, the 2.8. That is just a proven fish catcher no matter where you are in the country. You rig that on a little darter head or you rig it on a little swim bait head, a little underspin. You're still getting that swim bait presentation. You're just scaled down, so you're not throwing the big giant baits, right? You're not looking for that one big bite. Now you're just trying to fill out a limit, or you're just trying to catch fish. You scale down, you're still getting that swimming action, but you're just a smaller bait and you can get more bites. One thing I want to talk to you guys a little bit about is, you know, you guys have always heard us talk about the 2.8s. You know, this is the Swing Impact 2.8. Play around with the Easy Shiner. It's also a bait by Kite Egg. It's not ribbed on the side. It's just a smooth body, and it has a lot different action, a lot different kick than the swing impact. Little tip for you. Last bait I'm going to talk to you about is the tube. You know, a tube is a great way to put smallies, spots, largies in the boat, and it's a bait that's very versatile. You can drag it on the bottom if it's that storm comes in, the fish are just lethargic, just drag it on the bottom, or you can pop it, give it some action, get real darting action out of the tube, make those fish react to that bait. But again, guys, springtime, if you're not out throwing the big baits and you're trying to put fish in the boat, these are all tried and true tactics. We will link to all of our favorite baits in each category down in the video description. If you guys have any comments, any questions, down below in the comment section, Matt and I will try and get to those. Again, guys, we appreciate your support. Springtime, get out there, enjoy the weather, get some sun, and put fish in the boat. Talk to you soon, guys. Have a good day.